Good afternoon, Sian. How you doing? You well?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, how are you?
I'm blessed, always, in always. Listen, thanks for your time. Really want to appreciate sitting with you because I watched The Apprentice in 2018, the show that you won, and I was rooting for you the whole way.
Yeah,
Not least because you're a black woman, on a show where we don't see too many of those. But you carried yourself so well and you fought all the way up until the end. I remember particularly the last battle with Camilla. You guys were going in. And, what I loved about that particularly was how it ended and the respect that she showed you was like after the battle was done, it was love, Yeah. I don't know if that carried on in real life, but that's another subject.
You know what? It was very real. Me and her were friends. So
yeah, okay. No, that was good. That was nice to see, man. What was that like? I mean, the world's changed a hell of a lot since then, and I guess for you things are a lot different to when you won. But just the immediate period after winning, what was that like for you? And when did you come down from cloud nine?
Yeah, that's what's crazy is because of the type of show it is. It's kind of like your normal reality show. You might win it, and then you have your buzz, and then that's that. Then I don't know, you go on to do other things. But this is still a business show, so you kind of have the buzz, but then that like pressure of right, okay, I need to make this happen now. Like it's real life. The investment's real. Working with Lord Sugar is real. It's not like you just, it's all just for TV. It's all 100% real. So I think I had probably like a day or two of like, oh my God, I've won. And then after that, I'm like, right, let's just crack on and get on with business because I was always in it for that anyway. Like, some people kind of go on there, I think maybe more for the TV side or to get a bit of awareness and stuff like that, which is cool. But for me, it was always about going on to get the investment and to work with Lord Sugar. So I was just like, right, let's just crack on now. Let's do what we came here to do.
Does it seem like a lifetime ago, or does it seem like yesterday?
It's weird. It does. I think because this year's been such a, well, I said this year, last year was such a crazy year. It feels like it's been like 10 years since I won the show, and it's only really been 2. So it feels like a lifetime ago. But then I guess for the business, it feels like we're still in that climbing stage. So it's kind of both ways, I guess, when you look at it.
Like I said in the beginning, the world's changed a hell of a lot since then. And I know you've had some challenges with your swimwear brand and your fashion business. So talk about, how you've adapted to a tumultuous industry and how have you had to pivot?
Yeah. Obviously, it's for swimwear, for any brand that sells a product that predominantly relies on summer. It's been, like 2020 was just a crazy year. We had so many plans, we had things already in place. We as a fashion brand, we were already working like a year ahead of schedule. So I think it got to like March time last year, we were ready to launch this new swim range. We had some big retailers on board, we were ready to go. Corona kind of hit, pretty much cancelled the whole of summer for everyone. And, we're still a British brand. We have some international links, but we're still predominantly British. So for me, it was like, oh, right, okay. I remember first hearing about Corona and I had a conversation with someone who was saying, this is going to be quite big. And at the time I was so like blind to it, like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be okay. Then when it started to get the press and get the headlines, I was thinking this is going to really, really affect me and my business. So the instant kind of outlook was, okay, what can we do to kind of switch up what we're doing? Still keep the brand what I want it to be, but switch it up so that we can get through the year basically and keep thriving. So it was a madness. I mean, the first couple of months, you've got your biggest time for us is the summer. So March onwards is when everything just ramps up and no one was going away. Everyone was panicking. No one was really buying swimwear at all. So we started to look at, as a business, what were we going to do to kind of get through. We sold little bits of loungewear to begin with, but the idea was we were testing the water to see what worked, what didn't, and then we were going to kind of adapt and move into it. The last year has made us kind of have to 360 that and just completely speed the whole process up. So I kind of in the background was working on pulling the loungewear launch that we were planning on doing this year forward, so we had some product for winter time. And then in that meantime, so in that gap where we would usually be making all the money over summer, I was like, what can we do? We had a stockroom full of swimwear. We could rework it. So I kind of sat and thought, what could we do? Because then people started to talk about needing face masks. And I'm thinking, we've got a lot of this stock of swimwear. We could potentially look at reworking it to make face masks. So the first couple of months we did, we launched some on the site just to see what happened. And, you know, we didn't want to look like we were trying to make money from the situation, because that's not what it was at all. It was actually thinking, how could we recycle, you know, even because the way that we kind of was pitching it was, it's a product, we want to kind of recycle it, rework it and reuse it. So it's not just sat in a stock room. So we started to make these face masks, and then we did some where we could personalize them, put people's names on. And obviously at the time, everybody needed them. So they sold really, really well. And it was great for us because it helped us get, you know, rework some of that stock, get it back out there. And we're actually helping protect people, I guess, in some ways. So the first couple of months was that kind of that, like, oh, okay, what we're going to do just to survive through this. Whilst in the background, like I said, we worked on that loungewear. What's worked really well has been the launch of the lounge, which was all done a lot quicker than it should have been. But we managed to kind of get a few of the really, really big girls, some of the Love Island girls, whatever else, wearing the product. And it's sold just this year. Do you know what? It's been such a bittersweet year because it ended on such a high for us. And I think for me, it was a chance for me to show my true entrepreneurial skills, I guess, in some way. Do you know what I mean? And not just sit back and think, oh my God, this is it. But, you know, what we're going to do for a year, just sit and do nothing. And that's not me. That's not what I would ever do. So it's been a massive learning curve, as I'm sure it's been for a lot of people who own businesses. You know, luckily for us, I've got Lord Sugar and I've got the investment and I've got my drive. I'm never going to sit back and just let something stop me. So I guess that's kind of been the year. In the meantime as well, we were working on a new collection that's launching in a couple of months that we were selling into retailers. So we were kind of doing that in the background. And that's been amazing. You know, everyone we've put it in front of has bought it. So looking into like this year, pushing forward, how things have kind of done a 360, it's just been really uplifting for me. And I'm coming into 2021 feeling a lot stronger for it, a lot better for it. And blessed that I've been able to do that because, you know, there's a lot of people who haven't been in a position where they've had the money to be able to do that, or, you know, it's been a crazy year for a lot of business owners. So I'd like to hope that my story and, you know, my entrepreneurial journey has hopefully helped to inspire a few people. But for me, it's just been about surviving, you know, and I've survived it, and now it's about carrying on my climb, I guess.
Before you started working with Lord Sugar, you obviously ploughed ahead on your own, did your own thing, you're an entrepreneur. Talk about how that period where there's no support, there's no £250,000 backing, there's no Lord in your corner. Talk about how that period prepares you to adjust in the way that you have, especially as you've spoken about, you know, just starting so badly and finishing so strongly. That's so typical for an entrepreneur.
It is, and I think, you know, I'm a risk taker, and I always kind of have been. But I think it's different when you've got that investment and you can kind of take them risks and take the risks, and it might not work out, but you still have that cash in the bank to be able to take more. Before I won The Apprentice, I was working full time. I worked for a media agency for full time. I had my business that I was running pretty much just online on social medias. And I was doing everything in between my working days. So I was getting up 5 o'clock, sewing up the bikinis if I had to begin with, going to work, coming home, dropping things at the post office. I was just all over the place. But I had to do what I had to do because I couldn't afford to not work. And my work was basically paying for my living. I didn't take anything from the business. I just allowed any of the profits to retain themselves and keep pushing forward. And it wasn't really for me until The Apprentice came around that I said, right, I'm going to have to stop the work now. I'm going to have to stop doing it this way. I need to fully, you know, because I was a risk taker, but not enough at that stage to be like, I can't just, you know, I don't want to be pulling all the money out of this business when I've just started to get my funds going up. And so I fully understand the position that a lot of, you know, small businesses are in right now, where they haven't got that security, they haven't got the cash in the bank, they're relying on whether it's the government or whatever it is to get them through. Like, it's tough. And I think this last year has been awful for, you know, it's not even the small businesses. I'm seeing businesses that have been around for years and years, family businesses, you know, that have just not been able to cope with it. And it's really sad. And like I say, it's been amazing for me to be able to pull through it, but there's been a lot of factors for me to be able to. But had I have not had that investment and funding, it would have been a lot different and a lot harder, I guess.
I mean, you're all online now, so given the circumstances at the moment, are you glad that's the case?
Oh gosh, 100%. And I think it's hard, I guess, in some ways, because we work with a lot of retailers who are stores. So, you know, seeing the situation and seeing what was happening with the big retailers, and a lot of them closing and things going on, it's still a worry for me, because they're still, you know, part of kind of what we do and who we deal with. But I think online has for some time now been where everything's moving, and, you know, it's hard, I guess, in some ways, because everybody now is online, or a lot of people are, so there's a lot of competition. But I think if you was just a store, it would have been a tough year this year. I mean, the high street in Leeds where I am, I'm dreading that reopening to see what's actually not going to reopen, because I think there's going to be a lot that's not there anymore. And I'm still, you know, I'm an online business owner, but I still do like to go into a shop to try clothes on and have that experience. And especially, you know, your more expensive brands, like, that's part of what I think you pay for, is having that experience and walking around with your bag and stuff like that. So it's just been a sad year, I think, overall. Definitely.
What inspired the lounge range? I saw the lookbook for what's coming. So what's the inspiration behind it? Talk about that.
I guess for me, with inspiration, I kind of, because I'm used to designing swimwear, really. So I like, you know, designing my prints and having it quite colourful and the shapes, and it be quite sexy. So when we moved to the loungewear, I was more like, this was kind of new to me. And I always kind of start with myself and think about what I like and what I wear. And I wanted to keep it actually quite the opposite of what I normally do with swim. And I wanted to keep it quite simple. But what we've done with SS21, we've got like the finishes and the little gold details, the logos, you know, the prints, the way that we've picked the fabrics have been a bit more kind of, we're not trying to be too standard. I want to keep that swimwear vibe where we're a bit wild, but pull it into a way where it's not all about colours and prints. It's about the actual fabrics, the textures. You know, we've got some nice, like, it's kind of like a ribbed, soft, velvety fabric. And we've just kind of been clever with the way that, or I've been clever with the way that I've picked the styles and the textures. And I think I'm hoping people love it. And I actually think chill wear, you'd wear it at home, you could do work from home in your nice Sian Marie set. So depending on what happens, I think it'll still work well for people at home. So yeah, I guess I don't really have like big inspirations. I just have visions and things that I can see, and that's kind of where I take it.
You fully went into Apprentice mode just then. Like, it's mad. I'm thinking to myself, the passion that you've got for clothes and the detail and how you want to articulate and explain it, you really do come to life at that moment. You realise, right? You're a bit of an inspiration. I want to know how that's played out in your life over the last couple of years, because, you know, I'd imagine you must get inundated with young women, forget Black women and women of colour, just women in particular. I mean, I know women of colour must look up to you as a full inspiration, but you must get inundated with people who are like, you know, I love your journey and how you got into it. I want to emulate your success. How can I do that?
Yeah, do you know what? I get messages every single day, and I love it. Do you know what? When I was like younger and I was first getting into fashion, I wish that I had someone who was, you know, especially because I'm Leeds and I'm like northern based, I guess. And there's a lot of girls in the north who are like, oh, it's quite hard to get jobs in fashion up here, or it was when I was younger anyway. So it's really nice for me to be able to, you know, speak to girls in general, even guys. You know, I get a lot of guys who who just wanted to have somebody like that as a bit of an inspiration. And I think to do what I love, it's really cliche, and I know people always say it, but to be able to do what I love and to be able to inspire people whilst I'm doing it, that's like a win-win. That's what I think everybody would love. So for me, I think it's nice to have a role model who's not just someone who's been on TV or been on a reality show, but they've also got like a business mind and a business side to them, or a bit of an entrepreneurial kind of side. And yeah, I'm cool. I'm happy that people find me an inspiration. I've always got time for youths and people who want to be inspired.
Who inspires you?
I get asked this all the time, and my answer is my parents. So I could give numerous people from history and stuff like that, but the reason I say my parents is because I'm an only child, and growing up, my parents literally just dedicated every single hour of their time to me. They were out working. My dad would work nights, my mum would work days. I'd be at my grandma's. So it's everything I've always done has always been about kind of paying them back for what they've done for me. So, you know, every time I'm planning something or I'm making my next move, I'm always just thinking about kind of making them proud, I guess. And I think being on The Apprentice was a huge one, and they loved that. And, you know, they loved being able to see me on there and win. But I think it's more than just going on a show or doing well in life or making money. It's just about me being happy in where I'm at and what I'm doing, and they're proud of me for that, I guess. Because I think there's a lot of things that they wish they would have done when they were my age that they didn't do because they was looking after me. So for me, you know, I've always kind of said I want to make sure I'm doing exactly what I want to do so that they can be happy with that.
Sian Gabbidon isn't all about business, is she? What else makes you tick when you're not focusing on fashion, making money, clothes, beauty?
Do you know
what else are you into?
My health and fitness before lockdown was huge. Like, that was my second life. I guess I'd be, because I think when you're a business owner and you're always busy and you're always working, which I'm, you know, constantly, it's nice to have a bit of an outlet. So for me, it'd be going to the gym for an hour, going and doing a treadmill session or going for a jog. But it's actually really annoyed me, the lockdown. I mean, on numerous levels, but with the gym, I've lost that mojo, and I'm trying to get it back. New Year's, I was like, right, new year, new me. Did my first gym session, and that night we closed the gyms. So it's been quite difficult, but I'm trying to find ways of doing things from home now. And I've just bought a house that we've just finished renovating, and I'm just in a really happy place. I think this time last year, I was in a happy place actually. This time last year, it was more than March time, but this year I'm really happy, and I'm going to get back into my fitness. It's just when.
I hear you understand. I know what it's like trying to fit everything in. You're going to be on the cover of the lifestyle section in the Voice newspaper for February, which is the month of love. So it'd be remiss of me not to ask you if that happiness that you just now spoke about means that you've got a significant other in your life, and if so, how are you hoping to spend Valentine's Day? I have to ask because I'm going to write about it.
Okay, so yes, I have got a significant other. I've actually been with him for I think this is 10 years. This is our 10 years this year. I've been for a long time. Yeah, I'm very, very happy. Do you know what? We've just bought a house and we've renovated it ourselves kind of over lockdown as a little project. And he's just been he just knows how to do everything. He's amazing. But I don't know what we're going to do for Valentine's if we're still in lockdown. We'd normally go for a nice meal, or I don't know, go down to London or something like that. But I don't know. We might. Do you know what? He cooks Jamaican food, and he's just the best at cooking Jamaican food. So I might see.
Is he Jamaican? Then?
He's half Jamaican, half Greek.
Right. Okay.
Really nice mix, but yeah, he used to own a Caribbean restaurant in Leeds.
Well, you're sorted then. Cool. So you must be able to throw that in if he's doing a restaurant.
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm gonna sweet talk him, see if he'll cook me some food.
I don't think you'll have to sweet talk him too much. Those who love cooking. So it sounds like, I'll be honest, I think anybody who's got a partner, this Valentine's is already won. You know, the fact that you're not gonna be able to get out and do much is kind of going to be, you know, one of those things. But the fact you've got someone to spend it with, I think this year is going to be very significant.
100%.
Sian, it's been really a pleasure talking to you. Talk about the future in terms of how you want it to map out. We all want 100% success. And if you had a magic wand and Sian was in control, what would you make sure went right about your business this year?
I think because we're now on that path where I can see, you know, this last March was one where it was like everything was foggy, and I thought, what's the plan? Like, what we're going to do now? But now I can kind of see through that fog, and I can see where I want us to go. So the idea now, you know, we're going to be launching about 5 new retailers in March. The idea is to continue building them relationships with the retailers, bringing more on board, building potentially other areas of the brand. Now that we've got the loungewear and we kind of know where we're going with that, there's kind of new areas that we could potentially go into without me saying too much, but it's just making them plans and making sure we do it right if we do. So there's quite a few things I've got going on in my head and a few plans and places I want to be. But the main thing is, as I'm sure every business owner would say, is just continuing to grow and continuing to be a successful and a profitable business. That's, you know, it's harder than it sounds, but we're on the right track and it's looking good for us now. So I'm just feeling happy.
Well, you look it, I must say. So I wish you continued success, and everyone at The Voice will be supporting you. I'm sure when people read your story and, you know, tune into where you are 2 or 3 years later, they'll be glad to see that you've managed to ride what was a horrid 2020 for a lot of people. But at the same time, I think a lot of people learnt stuff about themselves, their businesses, and, you know, how they're going to move going forward. And you seem quite clear on that. So like I said, continued success.
Thank you very much, and it's been lovely chatting.